And that was the 8th match that we have just witnessed. It is just 3 more maps to go until we do have the 5 countries that will be going to Riyadh later this year for the IESF World Esports Championships. Kobo, I think we thought we saw it all after Turkey took home that record-breaking win with 24 eliminations. This time around, it's been a little bit different. It's been a little bit less than that as well, but it's almost equally impressive. France taking over 19 frags. Walk me through this. How has it actually? First question: how has it only happened now? Because I feel like we've seen France play that consistently for our. I want to say the last 8th match actually in its entirety of this tournament. So I'm surprised it took that long.
They literally had one bad game. They had one bad game in all 8 of them. So they were, for me, always the most consistent team in this tournament. They have not been as up and down as a Ukraine is or as a Turkey is, and I think it's about time they took their win. I think there's a little bit of variance just based on circles and everything, who's going to win games. But it's not surprising me at all that it's finally time, and it's not surprising me at all that it's in this fashion as well, because they're killers. They're going out there to hunt, and they're not sitting around in a compound waiting for the win to come to them, you know?
Yeah. No, they really haven't done that. I think from day 1, match 1 even onwards, I think we've seen these guys. They like to clean the edges, they like to try to take control of games, and they do very minimal mistakes. Everyone seems to be a very unselfish player. Everyone seems to be doing exactly what the team needs them to do. I think that's also what kind of surprised me the most about France. And then again, we've seen their fragging strength in the scrims that we had during the previous weeks. But if they come out swinging like this, because honestly, scrims can be overestimated to some degree, but they come out swinging like this and have a consistent fragging ability throughout all 8 matches. That is indeed surprising to me. As you said, only a single bad game, essentially. These types of enemies do not really support. I mean, there's literally world champions in here, and they're still able to hold up that consistently. That to me is crazy. Yes, it's a strong lineup, but I wouldn't have expected that amount of consistency actually coming out of France.
Go look at the games as well, and look how many times they get frags without losing a single member. Nobody else is doing that as cleanly as they are, so they're really, really good at that. But I think we gotta keep the France fanboying on a bit of a side note here for a second, because never. Because what we haven't talked about at all is Bulgaria getting themselves an 11-kill second place in that game. Coming out of that school area, they had to fight Spain, remember? They were pulling up next to Rozhok. They haven't had any circle luck in this game, and they're getting themselves a whole bunch of points, pushing themselves into 5th right now. So, big game for them, and a big statement to be made on the leaderboard as well.
I think it's one of the first times, actually, now that we've seen Poland and maybe even Romania not be as close anymore as they used to be. Romania had, I think, a fairly good game as well, but especially Moldova has been really lackluster throughout the last couple of games, and I think they are losing that connection as well. So unfortunately, Serbia as well. I feel like that was Serbia's chance now to finally completely catch up. That hasn't happened. So we do need another big game coming out from Serbia at this point. A double-digit game at the very least to catch up to the rest of the teams in the top 5. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Match number 9 has just started. And we do have a fairly fair playing path to start things off. Maybe we might see another Germany contest towards the military base.
Gonna have to see what players decide to do here. Lipovka was mighty messy in the last plane. Not sure if we're going to see 3 teams there again. 2 teams already going towards the Novo and the military side of things. Romania, nice and early. Pretty much alone on that Milta Power side of things. Serbia as well. Good bunch of space on the farm side. Not sure if that's going to be a struggle, though. Not sure if that's the second team they're getting in the mix with. As we've seen plenty of times. ERANGEL, yes, it's a little bit bigger, but it's not been free of the contest. And there's Ukraine and Turkey close to each other, but I think Ukraine is stretching a little further here, Felix.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to sort of know our job. You can tell Ukraine has already passed Rozhok. And Germany's not going for military base either. It's not even... Who did they fight the last time? I don't think it was Czech Republic, was it?
They've had hot drops on plenty of occasions. I think it was versus Hungary. I think in military base. Yeah, it was. There was a green flag in there. There's a lot of green flags in this lobby, so I might be confused. But
they're not doing it this time around. That's interesting. They are deciding to go South Georgia Pool. They have done this as well, but on this playing path. So good on Germany. They're dodging this whole job. But we do have one either way, and that is Wow, that is actually Montenegro and Azerbaijan. There must be Milta, actually. It's really tough to spot on the map, but it must be Milta.
Yeah.
As they are finding the first frag. Montenegro has already lost 2 players, but so has Azerbaijan. I think one of them is in flushable territory. You can see stuck right between 2 Montenegro players. Kind of the worst case scenario. And I think that early in the fight, Azerbaijan might have very limited medic in their inventory to potentially heal up the players that are still alive, but it looks like they are just fine. 3 players left standing. Everyone on the other side of the street.
Might be able to get that confirmed at least. By the way, Germany was hot dropping versus Azerbaijan. Just see that flag in front of me makes me realize they were popping a player out of their parachute with a pistol, and that was towards Azerbaijan. Now we've seen Germany in the kill feed again here. Actually, on the left side of it, taking a player out of Belgium in the George Pool area. So this hot drop seems to be going well for them. That's another knock towards Montenegro, though. That means just 1 player left standing, and that is looking good for Azerbaijan. I'm a little surprised we never saw this knock flushed out. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't flush out an Azerbaijan player, but good news for Paulie and the rest of the squad. They're probably going to keep playing this game as 4.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too many more surprises in here, but I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again. You underestimate that last single solo player, you cross the street prematurely, and he's down and out. I'm still surprised Azerbaijan was able to get that play back up. That's something I also wouldn't have expected Montenegro to let that happen, because 34 points right now, any point now is so incredibly important. Any point you do now, yes, this round is not going to be the big round that you need, but it's going to be 1 point less they potentially need to catch up on. If you do have another win in the next couple of games, it's not completely unrealistic. We've seen it happen time and time again. One of these lesser experienced liners, one of these teams that just haven't really performed up until this point, coming back in some of these last matches and still keeping the dream alive. That has happened, once again, plenty of times before. And Montenegro will be in a perfect spot to do so. So that 1 point could be the difference maker in the end. And that's what I said. Running across the street, maybe prematurely going to result in a knock. He's not got a nade, unfortunately, to flush him out. He's not even got a medic. He's not even got a first aid, actually, in his hand. Not even a medic pack either. So has to be careful of these peaks, and that's what he's doing. But yeah, it doesn't look like this one anymore. The player's now crawled out of it. They know where he is. He might even get another knock, but I think that should seal the deal. And I'm surprised Azerbaijan is giving him that much space.
They gave him a chance there. They gave him a bit of a chance there, and they have now realized, oh, this guy can get knocks. We should be a little careful with what we do. Keystone across the road. He's 1 HP. He's 1 bullet away from getting knocked there by that Uzi. But the players are now close by. The DBS is going to be coming out. And the S12K on the other side. They just got to trade this. They just got to death ball it, stay close to each other. Oh, that's a nice jump shot around the corner. That is movement from Clutch. Okay, styling on him as well. Not just cleaning it up, just styling on him at the same time. You love to see that.
That's some good movement. That is some really good movement. As we have Germany rotating into Belgium, it's a 2v4, I think, or a 2v3. Might be a really good option now for Germany to get a couple of isolated frags. That's what they need to do, build up that confidence. But they've let this player now walk away. From that point onward, it might be big trouble for them. And you can tell Germany has already found a player off of Belgium. First player has gone down. I think there was Jump that unfortunately lost his life in this one. And the problem is, more so with these types of buildings, it's really tough to have a fight like this. Despite you having the man advantage, it might not mean as much if there's just so many angles you have to be careful of, so many rooms you have to clear. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Good movement all around apparently in this low. Yeah, Zero makes a pretty fancy jump now to get towards the second part of the building.
I don't mind this from Germany at all. I think it's good that they're trying to go towards their strengths here, right? They've been good at these fights. They've been good at crazy early fights. And they've really not been great at getting into circles. So they're trying to make the best out of their Romania. 4-man up in the lumber mill area. Trying to hold their ground a little bit. Trying to fend off Croatia from coming on in. And Germany is still looking. They're still hunting, but they don't really have a good idea where most of these players are. They found B-Jump, though. They're trading a bit of damage, and Hiskenau is going to try to close that out. They've taken a 2v1, but oh god, the Molly actually gets the knock here.
Wow. The good pick up from his. That's what they need. That's the one player that kind of could hurt Germany, and I was kind of worried about him, because if he keeps on having the angle, no one's really going to be able to cross between the puzzle buildings as easily as without him. And so them taking him down is kind of going to secure that southern position and also the sight lines on kind of crossing. So that's a good pickup. The only thing, once again, I'm worried about isn't necessarily the kind of the push themselves. I think the push themselves was perfect. The pickup here, realizing, wait, we got the first frag off of Belgium. It's an isolated 3v4.
What is that
I think
spot?
that's perfect. But it's tough in this specific instance. South Georgia Pole is never an easy spot to have a fight like this in. And yeah, Biwaga's in a really cheeky spot here. They might know about this. I think Zero spotted him. I think Zero knows it. I think it just needs one player to go outside the building to potentially take him down. I think they're doing that. I think one is actually...
Yeah. They're trying, but look at how much
one
damage
is
they're
just
taking
shut
here,
down.
Felix.
Yeah.
Look how much
And he's
damage they're
happened
taking.
fast.
And there was no meds. There was no meds on those players either. They might get themselves another kill point here, maybe get themselves 3, but how do you make it to zone? If you don't have meds already, and you're in George Ball when the zone is in Lumberyard, not a good time. So they have to find some meds, and they have to find them quick, and they're realizing now, okay, this is maybe not worth our time. These guys are hiding out a little bit too much for us to find them, but I say that, they're pulling up even more. Hisk is just... Where is he going?
Does he know?
Does he want an angle on the outside player, maybe?
Maybe, but I think he would have gotten that through a different way. It's a little bit easier at the very least, but yeah, I think they're exiting this right now. You saw the medical in their inventory wasn't really as high as maybe they would have hoped for it to be after these first initial knocks, and as a result of that, I think they will have to just leave it as it is. And problem is, they've only secured that one frag. That's just not enough. As they rotate into Poland, did they just rotate into Poland? What is happening? They're just rotating into Poland. They're getting more frags now, as you have Spain against Moldova as well. First 2 initial trades happened. Vasquez went down, though, and so did his teammate. Crazy now to bring things back. It looks like a very chaotic fight here towards the Potato Hill. More nades raining on through. Crazy takes down V8. Malob's been taken down as well. This might be a huge upset. It's just watch me left alive. He does take down one of the players. Crazy now spots him out though, and he does get the last frag. This is good stuff coming out from Crazy and his squad. Spain finally sending a sign of life towards the rest of the lobby. We're still here. We're still kicking and fighting, and we're not going to go out like this.
Big fight for Spain, picking up all 4 of their elims, only losing 1 of their own. The nade from Crazy there really making the difference. Him not getting pushed because they had 2 different angles of approach there made that so much harder for the Moldovan squad. Just stuck in the middle, unsure which fight they wanted to take, unsure which fight was the right decision. And they do get punished in the end. A few shots come out. The live leaderboard is fixed, and it will show us that not only did Spain wipe Moldova there, Poland has lost players. We saw it in the kill feed. We're unsure what happened, but Germany has picked up both of those eliminations.
Good stuff. They must have immediately rotated into Poland. I just wish we would have seen that type of confidence and that type of fighting power a little bit earlier. As at this point, they need to triple their points. Nothing that's impossible at this point. I think nothing that's completely impossible, but they need to start fragging out early, just like they've done in this game, and then they need to actually close out 2 out of the... I want to say 2 out of the remaining 4 games to have a chance in this one. Can very well happen. Ukraine and France has shown us that it's possible. Azerbaijan as well has shown us to maybe name a team that's also towards the bottom of the leaderboard. But yeah, unfortunately, at least in terms of getting to the late game, Germany has shown us the complete opposite, actually, in terms of realistic chances. Going to have to wait and see. Luxembourg is going to get the first knock in here. It is all 4 players left alive as the revive has happened. And we've seen more players in the distance now fighting again. Germany has now lost a player. I think that's Gia going down against Belgium. Yeah,
that is Gia going down against Belgium. The team they were hunting for the majority of this game has come back to bite them. Armenia, they're going for the clear. They're finding players in the open. Bambi does get shot down in the end. Laura Coco alone in the top floor. Lots of angry men in the bottom floor throwing nades up, trying to clean this out. But there is France on the doorstep as well, and they might be the ones punishing in the end. They might be the ones cleaning this up. Armenia has to recover and refocus their attention here very quickly, Felix.
Yeah, they really need to. One more nade coming out from Armenia. And France, an unusual sight. 0 frags, and they've gotten a knock as well. Not what you usually see. Georgia now in the distance. Chiming in, taking down Victor. Tello's there to greet him on either side, and they might just leave Victor where he is. Actually, one more shot. Wow, Looney actually takes down Snogs in the rotate out of it. That's not an easy shot. Quite the opposite. He was down the valley, and it was up and down, so makes it even harder to trace. But he did so. Looney, as a result of that, secures the 5th frag for them, potentially even 7th frag if they get both of these last 2 flushes.
Rare misstep from the French squad. Not something you see all too often. Not something we have seen in these games. Ukraine in a bit of bother themselves as well. Taking a bit of damage, smoking themselves up, resetting, keeping 4 up. As Armenia is not done just yet. They want to pull up on Georgia here next. The next compound in line. They've already got themselves the 5 elims. Do they know about the Georgia player that's right in their backs though, Felix? In the middle of the field. I'm not quite sure. Ripper, let's lose with the Scarel. And now they do know. And now they might just try and close this out fast there. That's a wild pull-up. And it's a wild fight all throughout this field, Felix. This is an absolute mess, and it's in the blue as well. Nobody's kind of come out well from this.
No, don't really come out well. Georgia has knocked down. Triple G has been put to the ground, and Armenia was fought so valiantly up until this point. Is obviously going to try and commit to this. Having secured the first one, having, I think, Kawara safe as well for the rest, means it's good chances for them to do more with this one. And once again, Armenia right in the middle of things. They need exactly a situation like this, having a fight, an isolated fight at that, with the advantage. That's kind of like the best case scenario. 118 coming out, Turlo. On the event does not want to go after this one without a fight. Pasha in the distance is there to greet him. It's not even going to be needed though, as Looney is going to take him down with the DBS close up. That's his first frag in this one. And I think there's going to be more to follow. Georgia still in a really tough spot.
Yeah, but it's a tough fight for Georgia, and they're not going to come out ahead here, I don't think. But it's also a tough fight for Armenia. Now they have to get another res. They're using more meds. They look at them trying to pull up so fast here to try and close this out ASAP. They don't want to waste any more. They don't want to take any more blue damage. They're pulling up straight in. It's just one. It's just Sky dancing around the smokes. He gets one more knock. Is that enough to get a confirm? Do they maybe have to let Pasha bleed? I think Pasha is bleeding out here, so they at least get one. But yeah, I mean, Armenia is bleeding players here a little bit, but 9 elims is not too shabby. That's not all too bad.
Yeah, but they're going to go down immediately, though. I think the player that revived is going to go down as well. Yeah, we just saw that. Heading over to Romania, Germany, still in big trouble. They need a big round. They need to make more happen with the last 2 players that are left alive. But they rotated into Romania, and that is still a full squad. Good shots coming out from EXO. Takes down Hisk. And the trade on 0 happens immediately after as well. Overlad is there, and Romania is going to pick up 2 more frags. The remaining 2 Germany players, they started off strong again, but they just cannot cross that late game mark.
Can't really get into the placements, can they? They've gotten there once, I believe. 1 late game is what all they played. 2 placement points is all they have been able to garner. Turkey, on the other hand, not looking super hard in this one either. They've lost a play already. That could have easily been a second there by Overladi. But if he gets a good nade in there, if he gets a few good bounces, and he has at least 2 more here, he can do a whole lot of damage. And I think Romania is very interested in this. Romania really wants to close this out. They really want to keep this compound for themselves. They're not willing to share this here, Felix.
Not willing to share. I don't know not any circumstance, and I can understand why. I think the only reason why they're kind of hesitating and taking out the remaining 2 players is that they know it's Turkey. And fighting Turkey, even on a 2-4, is never just a done deal. Quite the opposite. More nades are raining in, as Belgium is being shot in the face by Spanish squad as well. This is an interesting turn of events, and the nades do in the end still hit coming back to this fight. And Romania will clear out Turkey. It has happened. I mean, Turkey is out. No more points for them. We said they are almost safely secured. Either way, 91 points. No one's going to catch them realistically. But still, that's gotta hurt a bit. Losing that top spot by quite a bunch of points now. It's gotta hurt their ego to some degree. 91 towards 100 and 107 right above them.
Yeah, not what you want to see, but also not something that's going to be a big spot of bother for them. Bulgaria, on the other hand, they're a team that has everything to lose. They're in 5th right now. They've been putting up numbers here or there. They've been putting up good fights and good plays. But they need more of that. if they want to stay in contention, if they want to be going home as a winner today. Citro now knocked by Serbia as well. A team that's right coming for them, a team that's gunning for teams like Belarus or Bulgaria. Breathing down their necks now. Not an easy position to be in, but one they will have to withstand if they want to go to Riyadh.
Bulgaria has shown us in the last couple of games that they are a very realistic contender for that trip. They've been fragging out, and it's been I want to say a journey of improvement over these last games. They've started off this tournament with showing us glimpses of consistent fragging, and I feel like it's gotten more consistent during day one, and I feel like now we're in this almost final form of Bulgaria to some degree, but they have just strung it all together. They are not losing players and rotate as much anymore. They're not fighting as much in the first 3 phases, and they're just focusing on making sure they get all 4 players left alive in phase 4, and then starting to frag out. And I think it's been helping them massively.
Really been way more consistent. I have to agree with that. As we see a zone pop on in, and it's pretty nice for Romania. It's insanely good for France right now if they do not get breached here. If nobody figures out that they're just a duo. If I'm Belarus and I have any idea that it's a duo, I'm sending it straight over there. But there's a chance they don't get figured out, and in that case, they should have a pretty solid game as we're going towards the placements now. And placements will once again be denied for the teams towards the bottom. It's just Albania left in this, and they might even be going out here because they have to face no one else but Ukraine.
The smoke's coming out. Ukraine once again controlling that northern side. But one of the best teams in the lobby to do so. And they've done it even more consistently than France, at least in terms of holding down an edge and not losing a play, because that's what obviously France has been struggling with, actually keeping all 4 players alive. Getting into late game and then closing out the round, that, be reminded, was the first round that we've just witnessed from France where they were actually able to close it out. Every single time before that, they've lost a player and were at too much of a big disadvantage going to these last kinds of fights. This time around, Ukraine showing us how it's done. They want to clear out more players, despite not everyone even being rotated in. As they want Croatia player towards the shelter area, but he's being caught on rotation, being surrounded not only by Ukraine, but by Belarus as well, as more smokes are raining on through. But it looks like in just a matter of minutes, maybe even seconds now, Ukraine is going to be the last team standing towards the northern side. It's going to give them lots of breathing room. Albania doesn't seem to care about Ukraine either, and that means even more space for them going into the next phase.
They still have a Croatian player right next to them, though, in those smokes, basically just on their doorstep. I'm not sure if they know exactly where he is. They seem to have a pretty good idea. So if they do close that out, it's good and nice and dandy. But they were just 1 nade away from being knocked down to a 2-man. So not quite out of the woods just yet. More shots coming out. Bulgaria knocked and flushed, I believe, in that fight, but actually getting themselves the 2 defeats. They have made the breach. They have made it in there, into that potentially winning compound. And if they can get 3 of their reses back up, that's amazing for them, Felix. That might be just the win they need to sacrifice, or to cement them, in the top 5.
Massive stuff. And yeah, I agree with you. It's just going to change the top 5. Romania, Bulgaria, Belarus, it's already bound to change the top 5 this game with how many teams are still alive in there. Realistically, what we really need to focus on is Romania, Bulgaria, and Belarus, obviously.
Oh.
With potentially even Azerbaijan and Serbia as well. But Serbia would need to win this game to breach into it. Maybe even to catch up to Belarus, depending on how much more they do with it. So maybe Serbia is actually going to be the biggest team to watch. Because they could do the most with this one. They are in a pretty tough spot, though. They do need to take that fight with Romania pretty much straight up and head on. Because there's no way to coexist for them in the open field towards the western side. So I feel like it's just a matter of time until they rotate in. And I want to see that happen as well. I want to see that happen sooner than later. I'm always a fan of, okay. I'm always a fan, I want to say, of clearing out the edge rather sooner than later and taking control of a route, getting isolated fights going when you know third-party potential is at a very minimum. But with this phase, I mean, I guess you could just wait, pick up placement points almost safely because everyone else is going to have to fight on the northern side.
Both seem attractive, right? It's a hard choice to make, because if they do now take out Romania. And if they do survive that, they would have so much time and so much space to shoot at everybody else in the field, right? Now they have to worry a little bit more, and they have to sit on the sidelines and let Romania pick up points. So it's a tough choice to make. You're taking a risk, but you're taking a risk for a massive potential payoff. So hard decision for that squad. I would love to see them go for the high-risk play, because not only do they need a big game here, they can't just get away with another few points. They also know that they just took down one of Romania, right? They know they have a 4v3. It's not really going to get a whole lot better than this, Felix.
Yeah, agreed. Crazy. Crazy stuff. That still so many teams have an opportunity actually now breach into the top 5 and change things around, despite, I mean, 8 games already being played. That's kind of an upset in and of itself. Ukraine, though, got to focus back on the northern side. Is trying to make something happen against Bulgaria. They know that's kind of the only option that they have. That they now looked at the options ahead of them. They realized that combat is taken, so they rotated even further towards the eastern side. Pretty smart rotates all around. Grab some more information, but they realized down there, yes, it's almost exclusively clear, but where do you go afterwards? Where do you realistically go afterwards if you take the shack and breach it? I still kind of think they do it because they kind of realize, I think there's more than one team down towards the deep southern side, and if that happens, they're not going to be solely focused on Ukraine, but by the looks of it, it might not actually happen. By the looks of it, they might kind of prioritize breaching Bulgaria here, which I'm confused about, because I feel like they should know the shack down there should be almost entirely clear.
Might be a bit of a rather going for a big play than trying to survive in a small one. They are going for the breach. The nades are already coming out. I love this from Bulgaria, but the nades are not succeeding. The DBS is on the other side, though. Oh boy, he doesn't even have to nade this anymore because his teammate's already in. Havoc comes around the corner, doesn't see the player on the stairs. It's an absolute disaster in the building, and Ukraine are faltering. Bulgaria is picking this one up. It's Bandita with the jump shot, but he gets taken out, and he's flushed as well. That's a big misstep. They're not staying clear in this. They already had this down to one member, Felix. They already had this down, and then they lose another member. This might come back to bite them. They need a big game here, and they wanted a big game here. They had a chance to win, and now they've not lost only one, but they've lost 2.
That's massive. That's massively hindering the chances for Bulgaria now taking home this dinner. Yes, they've secured a couple of more frags, but once again, Bulgaria was the only real team up towards their northern side, apart from Albania, who's still having a somewhat safe space inside this new phase. And that has now gone. That has now gone because they're down to 2 players, and the sidelines are not going to be as good. Next zone, centers up. There is 2 airdrops in the middle of it. But I don't think there's any hard cover whatsoever. I think there's a couple of rocks just below the ridge lines from Bulgaria. But apart from that, I think this might be decided in this phase. It is phase 6. So many silence, you can tell. Everyone almost has an angle on them already. So really finding a safe spot is going to be the big challenge.
There might be a little bit of low ground at the bottom of that hill that is just in and just survivable. And the reason it's survivable is not just because it's good terrain, but it's a little bit more playable because the compound has to move out as well, right? They're not staying in the top floor of their building for the rest of the game. So here you see Koa, he's found a little bit of it. I think to his north there's a little bit more, but Serbia doesn't want Albania to come down here. Serbia doesn't want Albania to have any say in this. They want to nail these kills before they get anywhere in the circle, and they want to claim them for themselves. They don't want to give any more of this up towards Romania and Bulgaria, especially. These are the 2 teams that they are trying to hunt. Any more frags towards them is a disaster for Serbia.
Yeah, it really is. Now the shots are raining on through. Koa takes the first one. Serbia need a big round. They want to branch into that top 5. They want to breach that 50, 60 point mark, and they've almost done so with that very first game of today. They have had a lackluster game too, but maybe this one can turn things around once more. Good shots against Albania, but I think it might be just about enough to potentially get that play they originally knocked, which is busy back up. And be reminded, everyone else on that eastern side is going to have to fight as well, but it looks like actually, Romania is making quick work out of everyone who's trying to rotate in. I think they've cleaned out Azerbaijan in the meanwhile as well. Now comes a knock against Serbia here from Romania. This is big. They've lost Melas already, and now Masha goes down as well. This could be disastrous for Serbia, who need this win so very desperately.
They need this win, and now they've given the upper hand to the team right in front of them, to Romania. They know where the knocks are. They know where to nade, and Koa, he's been landing good shots, but that doesn't help you when you're getting naded to absolute bits. Now he gets spotted around the smoke. No more nades, at least in the hand of Doran, but he has gotten the confirm, and there's still 3-man up in this. You can see they're scouting with the cars. They're making sure they know exactly where he is. And if they find just one more opening onto Serbia, they're flooding in. There's the opening they needed. Bishka goes down. It's a trade for Koa, but he has to step up massively here if he wants to have a chance. And he can't do it, Felix. Romania stay clear in this. And Romania, again, keep a team below them at arm's length.
Yeah, and Romania, because they win this, has actually now has really good position, actually. A really, really good position. Not only picking up this round, obviously, with Icy kind of just playing it really, really passively and really safely, but him also being alive. But also, they've now breached into the top 4. Romania. They needed one good round. We've said it about multiple teams. Romania was one of them. They needed a big round, and this could be it. 12 frags so far, but Doran gets spotted out and shot at by Icy. And we've seen crazy stuff coming out from Icy. Oh, my lord. Romania needs to cross open distance. This could be absolutely crazy. Icy sees Lawrence. Lawrence towards the left-hand side peak, but he can't take him down just yet.
This is doable for Icy. He just needs a headshot or two, especially Lawrence just has nothing to play there. Look at the circle as well, Felix. Lawrence has to make a run. If he spots him through the trees at all here, if he gets a glimpse of him, he can put him down, and we've seen him do this time and time again. He's looking to eye them up. He's putting a few smokes out. He has to be careful, but he has gotten the confirm at least. Now the push is there, though. EXO wants to close this out ASAP. He comes around the tree. They've got 2 angles on it. It's not looking good, Felix.
It's not looking good. 3 gear being picked up by Lawrence, but he needs to immediately move out. It's just pre-fires left, right, and center. Can Icy still manage to take him down? No, he's going to be spotted out, and that's it. Done and dusted. It is going to be Romania taking home the chicken dinner. We thought it was all sorts of teams that had a chance in this one. Serbia, Bulgaria, but in the end, it is the team that took out Germany right before phase 4. It is Romania holding strong inside that compound. Not only Germany, but also eliminating Turkey. Everyone who tried to have a say in this compound was just flashed out almost immediately. And that also means 14 or 15 frags being picked up on top of the win. Massive round, and it's going to secure them a top 5 if they continue playing like this.
I think they might have just secured it. I think that might be enough. I think they were getting towards that 90-point mark with that win. Right?
I think so, yeah.
That was not just a win. That was a massive win. And again, I think Icy is the only reason that they still have to sweat a little bit, because he keeps Bulgaria in the conversation. Poland, again, not a whole lot coming up from them this game. They've really been faltering. We've just seen them pretty much get swept aside on the circle edge this one. So this conversation is getting a little bit more exclusive, and fewer teams are participating every single round now. And Romania with a big, big win. I think they cement themselves, right? I'm not sure. It's a little too early to tell, but that's a big, big step towards qualification, and it's a big misstep from Serbia there towards the end. If they clean up that game, then it's suddenly them we're talking about.
I think they did have the advantage at some point as well.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll look back at this and be like, maybe they wouldn't have waited, and maybe would have just taken Romania head on while we had the chance to have an isolated fight inside their compound. Maybe, who knows, they would have clean wiped them, and then they would have taken complete control of their southern side and potentially won the round as well. Maybe that's what they will look back and think maybe that's what they should have done. But who knows at this point? What we do know is Romania is going to pick up that round. It's going to be Doran with the MVP. 5 eliminations. He's done plenty of important frags, especially, I think, with the initial 2 knocks against Serbia. Taking them down was the biggest challenge of this one, and they were able to do so.
What a round for the Romanian squad. A few contenders have fallen short today. Poland, Moldova, they both come to mind. Belarus to some extent as well, haven't been as impressive as they were yesterday. And then Bulgaria and Romania have just picked up the slack completely. And that's reflected on the leaderboard now. Look at that, 77 for Bulgaria. Good cutoff. Good gap towards the 6 as well. But 91 for Romania. And that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say they're guaranteed, but think about what has to happen. They have to get beaten by Turkey.
Yeah,
they have to get beaten. They have to get beaten by Bulgaria, and they have to get beaten by a team that's 32 points behind them as well.
Yeah, it's guaranteed.
It's not happening anymore. And I said yesterday, maybe 71 points will be enough. Maybe that won't be enough. Maybe you need 75, 77 or something. But a team that's not in the top 5 needs to step up now. They need to close the gap now, because this gap is substantial, Felix.
I also think it's done and dusted for anyone in the second part of the Esports. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to catch up. Just mathematically, 3 more games. Let's just say Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania, these 3 teams that can be caught up to, do not make any single points now. Belarus and Azerbaijan still have to essentially win 2 games. Belarus especially. They have to win 2 out of 3 games, and that's just not going to happen. I mean, 19 placement points up until this point. It seems all the more unlikely. I'm not going to rule it out just yet. We've seen crazy comebacks from Azerbaijan as well. Slowly but surely picked up the slack, but have dropped down to kind of a down low as well now. But yeah, once again, highly unlikely. So yeah, I said 90 points was going to be the cutoff. That's what I said from the very beginning. I think 90, 95 maybe. So I do think Turkey and Romania are done and dusted with this one. I think the 5th spot is the one that everyone is going to be looking at and fighting for. So I think Bulgaria especially has to be incredibly careful now of not being zoned out, of not being maybe even focused upon. Because if I were Belarus and if I were Azerbaijan, I wouldn't focus on any of these top 4 teams. I'd focus 100%. On Bulgaria. 77 points. That's the only realistic chance of catching someone.
This is what we talked about earlier as well. This is the point where you're happy if Ukraine or France or Romania or Turkey pick up points. Because you're hunting Bulgaria, you're not hunting anybody else. And even a Serbia, potentially a Moldova, they're in a situation, the same situation they were in at the start of the day. They got to win the next game if they want to be in it. And if they don't, it's going to become impossible. And yeah, like you said, second half of the scoreboard, I think you can pretty much call it for now. They can still get very, very close. I think it's very, very possible we see a Montenegro in 6th. Because the gap there is not that big. The gap to 5th is substantial right now. That's over 40 points, right? That's crazy right now. And getting 40 points in 3 games is possible. Catching up 40 points in 3 games, that's almost impossible. So tough times for some of these teams towards the bottom of the leaderboard. I love seeing plays like we saw from Germany this game, right? Coming out aggressive. Same for Montenegro. Some nice shines of brilliance. Spain with a really good team fight versus Moldova. But overall, they've just not been stringing these together consecutively and consistently.
26 points for Germany, 24 points for Albania. Both of these teams had a chance in this last game. I want to say especially Albania, to maybe make the miracle happen. Albania specifically, they were at the top of the northern side, top of the northern hillside, kind of the end of the Potato Hill runway. And they had all 4 players left alive. Bulgaria was only alive as 2. And I felt like it was just, unfortunately, a tiny bit too passive. Otherwise, maybe another comeback story could have happened. But I guess that one is reserved for Serbia, potentially. So, yeah, I'm going to have to wait and see. 3 more games, Kovo.
3 more games, 3 more chances for the Serbian dream or anybody else that's catching up. Don't forget about Poland as well. If they start playing like they did yesterday, there's a chance they come back. But it is going to be hard. 3 more games is all we have for you guys as well, so don't go anywhere. We're sending 5 teams to the World Esports Championship, and the next game is just a few minutes away. Short break, and we'll be right back.